Howdy doody, K1GMM. The hack in the shack. Nervous twitch in the ditch. I've been fussing with trying to get my audio clean using a DAW on the 7300. Now, this is a shout out to all you 7300 owners out there. And I know people are doing this, but I figured I'd post a video on exactly how to make it happen, Captain. So I think I've got an issue with the jumper cable that goes from the back of the rack to the set to which it's a pigtail which jumps to the 7300, the Heil cable that goes into the mic input in the front of the radio. So I got thinking this morning, how the heck do I get the audio virtual in and out of the radio? Well, not so much out of the radio, because as you can see on the screen, I don't use the front end of the 7300. I use an ASPI dongle with SDR console, which I find SDR console, that combination rivals the Sun SDR2DX. What I'm about to show you is a phenomenal alternative to spending money on like a Sun SDR2DX. It is a cracking combination. It doesn't have quite the dynamic range the Sun has, but I'll tell you, it has much exponentially better control. It's quieter. And the NR3 and SDR console will take a signal that's in the noise and make it sound like it's 40 over. I kid you not. But that's not what this video is about. So what I'm doing now is I'm able to pipe the audio in virtually in and out into, I shouldn't say in and out, but into this ICOM 7300. And I can tell you it is way cleaner than using the rack. And it sounds phenomenal, but there's a couple things you're going to need to do. So I'm going to do a walkthrough and show you how to make this work. So let me get over to the screen here. And yes, I am running Chiquita Banana, and I hate this program, but it makes it work great. Now, you can do this with 2 cards. This works exactly the same way as the Anon and the Expert or the SDR radios, as far as getting audio into them via virtual method, right? So what we're going to do, first thing you need to do is, if you have your DAW running, and there's information on the website as to how to do this, so I am going to revisit a couple things, just show you how to set this up. All right, so we're going to deal with this first, the audio side of things. So I have my DAW running right here. And what I did was I brought Voicemeeter Banana back in line. And make sure your sample rates are all correct and all the same. Very important. And what you're going to want to do is, my microphone comes into the M Audio card. I'm using 1 card with this. If you're not running Banana, you're going to need to use 2 cards. There's no other way around it, all right? Because you can't share drivers, ASIO drivers, unless you use some kind of middleman to shuffle things around. So get your Banana, Voicemeeter, Chiquita Banana, or Mr. Potato Head installed, a Voicemeeter Potato. And you're going to want to set your hardware input to where your microphone comes into your card. So in my case, I'm running an M Audio Air 192.4 card. So bring your audio in there. Set this to B2. Okay, I'll just click this, open this up so you can see I have KS M Audio Air 192.4 stereo 1.2. Once that's done, set your drive level on your card. Make sure your audio level is correct. And then you can click B2. All right, now come over here to this strip right here and click B1. Ignore all this over here. B1. All right, now this channel strip I'm not using. This I would use for the SDRs, the SDR radios like the Apache. Now, under Voicemeeter aux, this is what you're going to use to communicate with your DAW. So make sure this B1 is clicked on. All right. And you're not going to see anything yet. Now go up here and make sure your hardware outs are set properly. So mine is my hardware out. The hardware I'm using is ASIO M Audio Air 192.4. This would be the card that you're using. Yes, you will need a sound card. Can you do it through the card in the computer? Probably. A2, I have set to speakers, Realtek Audio. This basically routes audio to different drivers in the computer so you can grab them and use different pieces of software. A3, here's the catch. All right. So set your A3 to use the USB audio codec. Now, this is in reference to the 7300 only. I would imagine that this would work with any radio that uses a USB connection to the computer to run digital modes with. In other words, it has a built-in sound card in the radio. Now, I would imagine you can use a signal link as well. Anything that will show up in your sound card, your onboard sound card in the computer, and I'll show you that in a second. In my case, you can use on the 7300, you install the drivers. Of course, you got to make sure the drivers, the Silicon Labs drivers are installed for the 7300, and you will select USB audio codec. All right, in A3, and make sure you turn A3 on. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what you need to do. So go to the right-hand panel, right-click the speaker icon, open up sounds, go to recording, and I'm just going to check this. You may not even need to touch this. No, you do not need to touch it. So that is running all well and good. Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Duh. I just closed it and I wanted to show you this. So if you go to your sounds panel, you want to make sure that your USB device is recognized and on in the sound settings in the computer. So go to recording. Right, and you're going to go, I would go to both of them. And what you're looking for is right there. Where'd it go? Right here. Microphone 3 USB audio codec. Now that is the driver that's grabbing audio in and out of the 7300. All right. That's the recording tab. So that is on the 7300. Now pay attention to that. If you don't see this in there, this isn't going to work, right? You have to install the drivers. All right, so look for the sound part of the sound card, the driver that's in here. Make sure it's on and it's active. It's not disabled or anything. It should say ready. You don't have to make it default or anything. Go to playback, do the exact same thing. Speakers, USB audio codec. So if let's put it in the dummy load, and I key the radio, you should see, test, you should see, here it is, USB audio codec, and I key the radio, see the audio pop on there? So that's what you want to see. Now, you're not going to see that until you get Cakewalk, your DAW configured. So, okay, so that's working. So you can kind of drag this to the side. You don't have to do anything special with this. You can right-click on this, right? Go to, where'd you go? Right-click on the driver for your radio. Go to listen. I don't have it set to anything here. Just listen to this device is unchecked and default playback device, because everything is being passed through voice meter. But voice meter has to see it as active, okay? Otherwise, it's not going to work. Important. Now, we move on to Cakewalk, or your DAW. So basically, you go to your sound card preferences. Go here. Under devices, your audio tab, whatever DAW you're running, you're going to want voice meter aux virtual ASIO in, a voice meter aux virtual ASIO out. Make sure those are checked. Hit apply. Okay. Bada boom. Okay. make sure in your channel strip, you have your channel strip set appropriately to listen and to send audio to the appropriate devices. So in this case, my input to channel 1 for my audio will be VM-VIO 1 left. Okay. And the output I have set to VM-VIO 1, VM-VIO 2, which is basically 1 and 2 stereo, left and right. Okay, make sure those are set correctly. Oftentimes you can set the preferences in edit, but you still have to load these, otherwise nothing's going to happen. And of course, make sure your little echo button is checked if you're running Cakewalk, otherwise there won't be any audio there. Now at this point, you should be able to go over here and talk into the microphone. You will see audio coming through. Score! Now remember, A1, these are your monitors, monitor functions, A1, A2, A3. This is where audio is piped to, sent to. If you have A1 checked, your audio is going to come screaming through your primary sound card. And if you got your speakers on, that's going to be a hair-raising experience. So just keep that in mind. So remember A3, we had that set to KS USB audio codec. That's the rig. So all of this audio right here, if you click this A3 button, is going to be sent to the 7300. All right. So there's some settings on the 7300 I got to walk you through, and then we're going to test it. All right. So the 7300, there's a catch here. I tried to get it to work because this is coming in through the USB cable for the data modes, digital modes. I should say data modes. And it worked, but the problem is the audio was pinched. And it was only about 300 kilohertz wide. Well, there's a way around this. I thought there might be, and somebody had mentioned this to me this morning, Harry Paul. He knows somebody that does this. And he mentioned that there's a setting in here. So I'm going to show you where that is. So if you got a 7300, most likely there's a setting on these other radios. If you have a sound card built into your rig and it connects via USB cable, and that USB cable passes audio in and out of the rig, this should work regardless of the rig. Okay? But because you're using that line, that input and output, instead of the microphone in, you need to make a change, because by default, usually those data mode ports, inputs, are very, very narrow bandwidth. So you're not going to get your full spectrum audio out. So what you do on the 7300, you'll have to find the appropriate menu area for the particular rig you're running. But this is 7300. Go into menu and go to set and go to connectors. And you'll see data mod. All right, click this and make sure that is set to USB. And let me go down through here. Okay, and data off mod. Find data off mod and make sure that is set to USB. All right, so I believe what this does is it shuts that data, it opens up the data bandwidth, right? Because by default, that is very, very narrow and pinched, and it'll be clear and it'll sound, but it'll sound like the only audio coming through there is like 800 hertz to 2 kilohertz, and that's pretty horrid. You know, so I haven't touched these yet. These other settings right here, you've got USB modulation level, mod level. I didn't touch that. I'm leaving that at 70. If you're having a hard time getting enough drive into the radio, you may have to go in here and fuss with that a little bit. All right, because you don't want to clip anything in the DAW. So now remember, and I probably will go in and make a little bit of an edit there. So let's jump back. So if I key the radio, you can see the ALC moving. Now keep in mind, even though this is coming in the data port, with those settings changed, you do not need to have this. Come on. Oh, see, it doesn't even give me the option to go into data. Now, if you're going to run digital modes, stand by. if you're going to run digital modes, I don't know if this will still work. If the data from the digital modes will still pass back and forth from the radio. I haven't tried that yet, but this is strictly for phone. Okay. But with the data function on, to get that active before you make those changes, you'd have to go here and you'd have to select data. Now, because the data mod is off, everything is passed via standard mode, like LSB, USB, right? And it's all done through the back of the radio through the USB connection. So let me jump back over here. So if you go here, you'll see that I'm talking into the mic, and everything at this point, everything should be lit up. You should see audio, this meter moving, and you should see your cakewalk meter moving. All right. I'm not going to go into like in-depth settings because I've already done stuff like that before, and you need to learn how to run your DAW. I'm not going to help you with that. There's plenty of information online because they all function the same, but they're all different. Things are in different places. So figure that out for yourself. Benefit. I can tell you the audio is amazing. Absolutely amazing doing it this way. Exponentially better than bringing it in through the front of the radio. I can't believe I waited this long to even try this. It's very clean. It's noise free. You don't have to worry about RFI getting into your cables. You don't have to buy equipment for a rack. The only thing you will need is a sound card. You need a sound card. Has to be a USB type sound card to get your audio into the computer. So that's pretty much it. That's all you need to make this work. And I'm telling you, it is worth it. So that's basically it in a nutshell. And you know me, I am the cheapest SOB you'd ever meet. I don't like spending money on things. And if you'd like to play with this stuff, get into, really sweeten things up audio-wise on the rig, give you a little bit more control. Then you got a sound card sitting around. Hey, everything else is free. Hit the website. You can go get plenty of information on there. All of this applies. It just has to do with a slightly different driver. You need to use the driver in the radio to get this working, but it will work. And I suspect it'll work great on a multitude of other rigs. I'm actually I wish I could rip the Heil cable completely out, but I need a PTT line. And so I'm kind of stuck with a cable in the front of the radio, but so be it. Anyway, 7.3, we'll catch you guys later. I'm telling you, I can't believe how good this thing sounds. And just to tie everything up, right? I've been playing with this for the past few days, and I'll tell you, if you want to save some money, the way this thing sounds on transmit, and you're content to run 2.8 to 3 kilohertz wide, and you don't really care about running 4 kilohertz wide, I'm telling you, get yourself a good quality dongle, like a Hack RF or something like that. Decent dongle. Don't use like an RTL SDR or anything like that. Get a decent dongle. And you know me, I'm not going to recommend anything. Get yourself a way to get an IF tap or get yourself an MFJ switch. And I can tell you that this front end that I'm using on the 7300, I do not use the front end of the 7300. This running the dongle with SDR console, boy, it is a formidable weapon. So you got a really great system on transmit, and you've got a system that will rival almost anything out there on receive. For pennies on the dollar, there's no reason to spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a rig. I'm telling you right now, the only thing you're paying for, and I'll stake my life on this, because this front end is every bit as good as a Flex, what I'm using for a dongle here. And it was about, you can get them for what, $150? Let's see, a couple $100 or $3,000. What are you getting for that $3,000? All you're doing is you're getting the ability to run 4 kilohertz wide, wider than, let's say, 2.8, 2.9 kilohertz, 3 kilohertz. That's all you're paying for. It's a lot of money to pay for. This front end actually stomps the expert. The control I have over the front end, it is dead silent. I'll show you. Do a quick demonstration. So let's find a signal.
So I just dropped the bottom on the mid again.
And I'm gonna have to get
left the wide alone.
Yeah, if I go to mid, this is mid right now without this is a mid filter. I'm not using a transmit bandwidth wide.
Hello, New York. Hi, Whiskey India 3 Romeo.
I heard a Kilo Bravo 9.
Pretty cool foot doctor around here, and he'd freeze them.
Let me mute my microphone. You can just check.
And about 2 days later, I guess it fell out or something, and it was fine. But luckily, after that one session, or 2 or 3 times, it never came back. But doing it yourself, ouch. Boy, they did hurt, that's for sure. Take care, Al. Nice talking to you, and you're sounding good. Anything else?
No, not really.
Yeah, you notice, you see the pan adapter jump and pop like that? Got a lot of storms down on the eastern seaboard, it looks like. And it's being propagated in on 40. And you can't even hardly hear them. You see the pan adapter jump and the spectrum light up with the horizontal lines. You just saw it jump right there, and you can't even, barely even hear it. You can just wipe out the static. And the interesting thing about the new console, I'm digressing a little bit, but I wanted to show you this. This function right here, the NR3, this NR3 will take a weak signal that's just off the noise floor, and it will ramp that up to the point where it's literally like, sounds like it's 40 over. I kid you not. It is phenomenal. I've never even messed with it before. I just messed with it yesterday. I was like, holy crap. Oh, yeah. It's like it jumps from, let's say you got a noise floor of, let's say, an S3 and the signal's an S5. It's like going from that to 40 over. I kid you not. You got to be careful because you blow the freaking speakers off the wall. That's how incredible it works. So anyways, we will catch you guys later. 7-3. Have a super fun day. And I hope somebody gets some kind of benefit out of this. I'm going to set this as a premiere so I can jump in on the chat with everybody. We'll see you later. K1GMM.